Good morning. It is Thursday, May 10th, 2018. Sitting in my car. I'm on my way to work, but I'm riding and thinking. I had a conversation recently. I'm on this writing journey and I'm trying to get published, and actually I am now officially published. I have an article in a magazine. But in conversations about learning how to what works and what does excuse me, what works and what doesn't work in like the literary world, you're very seldom, if ever, gonna find a story where the bad guy wins, unless the bad guy was secretly the good guy. In order to finish a story, the good guy has to win. There's certain standards that you have to follow. You hear them, oh, it's just a boy meets girl story. That is romance. Boy meets girl, boy does something stupid, girl does something stupid, something drives them apart. That's the standard outline for a romance story. There's a standard outline for horror stories or fantasy stories, whatever. Fantasy, not really. But there are certain things that have to happen in order for your story to be characterized that particular genre. And during this conversation, that's what we were talking about. What classifies what as what kind of story, or what kind of book. I have 2 poems that I wrote. I would like these poems to become not children's books. But they're a little lengthy and descriptive because they're poems, so I'm having trouble getting them published in a children's picture book market. But that's what they are. That's what I'm trying to build them as. So that's where this came about. And while that's what we were talking about, it got me thinking about something else. We are called to give a testimony. What happened to you? Why do you love God? What happened to you? What did He do for you? And I got to thinking about it. I have never once heard I was doing great. I was on top of the world, having the best day of my life. All of a sudden, bam, God happened, and believe it or not, it got better. That's not what happens. And if that is your story, great. Please tell me. I want to hear it. I want to hear how He made your life, your great life, even better. Absolutely. Whatever God did for you, please tell that story. Whatever your testimony is, praise Him to the highest mountains. But that's not the layout for a general testimony. Usually, you hit rock bottom. You made choices, or you were put in situations where you were just struggling. If struggling, you were drowning. You were going down for the 3rd time drowning, and out of nowhere, something miraculous helped you. And you just knew beyond a shadow of a doubt that was the hand of God on you, in your life, in your situation. And that's what rescued you, so now you belong to God. That's the standard layout for every testimony. And the cool thing is, every testimony has the same layout, but it's a different story, and everyone is great. You hear people talk about Hallmark movies. Well, they're all the same. Yeah, but that standard, that layout, it works. It's all the same layout, but it's different characters, different situations. All country music sounds the same because it has the same tempo, and I'm not sure what classifies it as a country music song. All hip-hop or R&B, all different kinds of songs, they're classified by a certain sound. Southern gospel as opposed to contemporary Christian, it sounds different. Rock and roll sounds different than classical. There are certain things that make it part of that genre, but each piece is different. So what is your story? If you were on top of the world and God happened and took you even further, great. If you're an astronaut for Jesus, perfect. Please let me hear that story. I want to hear it. I want to know all about what God did for you. But if you have a standard story, like the rest of us, just because you have a standard story doesn't mean it's not a great story. You just have a home. Your story in that pattern has a home. So, what's your story? Praise God today and tell people what your story is. God bless. Bye.